How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of FSI's PGA DFS Pick Show. I'm your host, TK Nation 47 by John Cool 19. John, welcome back from your vacation down south to Cancun. I hope you had a good time. How we doing? And did you check any golf out last week?
I mean, I couldn't help but watch the leaderboard a little bit. It was great to just be on the beach, and I kind of missed being able to play some DFS, make some bets. But that's all right. The restrictions kept all my money in my wallet for a week, and just ready to turn it into this week.
Absolutely, man. Glad you had a good time. We did fairly well for the Sony Open. Good course, I would say. You know, I hit pretty hard on the one and dones. Seamus Power turned in a T3 for me, and made some plus money on DFS too. So turned in a pretty good week, and
Nice.
it was fun to watch too. Hideki, that shot on 18 was just insane.
Incredible. And I'm a Hideki guy. I would have been playing Hideki. I was playing him Tournament of Champions. I play him every single week. A little disappointing to not be around for the one week he wins. But he'll be back. I'll be playing him all year long at prices that are much higher than he was at this week, and ownership that'll be triple what he was this week as well.
Oh, so, yeah, I was gonna say nobody played him at the top either.
Yep.
He was the forgotten guy. I had him in a few GBPs that really hit hard too. So happy with the results last week for the Sony.
Yep.
All right, moving into the American Express. It is quite different this tournament here. Before we talk about our picks, I want you to tell us a little bit about the situation with the courses that we have to face today or this week, and what to expect overall from a statistics and breakdown of what to look forward to. Yeah, go ahead, take it away.
I jumped the gun a little bit on the slide here, but yeah. So this week is another 3-course rotation, and it's also a Pro-Am event similar to the Arnold Palmer Invitational. That is another course that I've been looking at a little bit this week for comp, especially because it's a similar format, and some golfers struggle playing, 6-hour rounds with some, call them scrubs, celebrities, whatever. So those are just something I'm looking at this week. It is different. 3 courses. We're playing at the PGA West Stadium course. That will be, everyone will play it once in the first 3 days, and then all the golfers that make the cut, top 65 and ties, will play Sunday back at the stadium course. We're also at La Quinta Country Club and the Nicholas Tournament course. Those 2 are the easier of the 3 in Showdown. We will focus all our lines on those 2 courses. I will not be playing anybody that's on the stadium course. And looking at early weather, I don't know if it's going to be coming in on Friday or Saturday, but either way, that's going to be everybody before the cut. There is going to be some weather. It's looking right now like Saturday could get ugly. So I think we're going to get a good advantage this week on some showdowns. When it comes to course, like stat fit, it's really difficult because we don't have any shot tracker on the other 2 courses. So if you want to just focus on one of the 3 courses, you can certainly do that with the stats and look at it. We're looking at ball strikers. We need birdie makers. And really distance is a bit of an advantage versus accuracy, although neither of them is critical. I'm much more interested ball striking, approach, and then around the green play too. So those are kind of my biggest focuses this week. And then birdie makers, opportunities gained, I'm including those as well. Again, 3 courses. I'm not looking at a specific range for proximity or, approach from this range, that range. That's not what I'm focused on. Par 5 scoring should come into play. If you look at the stats, it doesn't actually correlate quite as much here as it does at many other courses that are par 72s, but it is a par 72. There are 4 par 5s on all these courses, and the par 5s are gettable. So I'm going to include that in my modeling as well. That's really about it. I'm kind of focusing more on comp courses, other short courses under 7,200 yards. All 3 of these kind of fall into that. The La Quinta is like right at 7,200, but and easy courses, easy scoring. Those are kind of my focuses this week, much heavier than I would otherwise because the stat modeling just is really tough to do.
Yeah, good breakdown as always. You can always find John's sheet. He posts that usually on Tuesdays in our Discord chat. It has all the information that we talk about here on the show and more. Of course, horses, A full breakdown of the courses themselves, or usually one course, but this week it's 3.
Yeah.
And, other guys that grade out statistically on this course or the courses, as far as, top 10 leaderboards and stuff like that. So there's much more to the Discord chat. You can find that on our Twitter handle at FSI_DFS. And you can find that on our website, FSIDFS.com. All right. Moving on to the picks. I'm going to kick us off here with Corey Connors, 9,400. An excellent ball striker, 11th last week at the Sony. He was pretty lights out on the approach, 5.9 strokes on the approach, 6.8 tee to green. He even gained a full stroke putting. If you know anything about Corey Connors, is he's not
Impressive.
not much of a putter. So to see that he was gaining strokes on the putter, and it's actually been quite good since the second half part of the season last year. Figured out that he is quite good on fast Bermuda greens. I think that's where he's starting to figure out how to play well. It's the slow, sticky stuff that really tricks him out. So here we are at a Bermuda grass golf courses. It's supposedly going to be playing pretty fast because of some dormant, a dormant summer as far as rainfall. So California is going to be playing. It's going to be really fast and firm. And I think that's going to play to Corey Connors' strength. He was really close for me on the one and done this week, but I'm going to talk about another guy later. And so Corey Connors is going to be my DraftKings play at 9,400. How about you? Who is your favorite here for DK?
Yeah, I think Connors is an excellent choice. He falls right into that cash play for me on the high end there. Usually you can maybe squeeze in one to two guys. Two if you're in the lower 9Ks. If you're at like 9,900, you only really can squeeze one in there. I think he's a fantastic start for cash lineups. I'm going to have him a bunch in my DFS. I think the value is awesome. That plus 900, you're looking at other guys like usually somebody would be like around Cantlay is not too far from that, and he's well over 10K. So I think the value on DFS is really good there for Corey Connors. For me, I talked him up 2 weeks ago, Tournament of Champions. He turned in a second place finish. Jon Rahm, still the best player in the world right now. I don't mind the 11.3 price. That's just fine for DFS. You're going to be able to find some value here at the low end as well. It makes it a little weird starting off there and then knowing you're going to have to plug in multiple 7K or 6K guys, but I'm willing to do it. I think Jon Rahm will turn in another top 5 finish. Very good chance at winning. I think right now his win probability is 14% or something silly. The whole betting market is absolutely nuts of this week because of Jon Rahm. There's 100 plus golfers that are over 100 to 1 odds, and it's just nuts. So drug everybody's odds down because everyone thinks he's going to win. I will be playing him quite a bit in my GPP lineups. The form, you just can't get much better than that. He's got 8 out of his last 10 cuts, but of those 10 events, he's 70% top 10 finishes. That's just awesome. And it includes runner-up Tournament of Champions, runner-up at the Tour Championship. It includes his win US Open and his woulda, shoulda, coulda been win as well with his COVID withdrawal. But really, there's nothing bad you can say about him. He rates out extremely well ball striking. He's second overall in the last 36 rounds. Top 10 on approach. He's the number 1 birdie maker in this field over the last 36 rounds. Par 5 scoring, greens and regulation, distance, you name it. He pops in the model. That's really good. He rates out well on all my comp courses. He rates out really well on easy courses. He rates out really well on short courses. So I don't see any reason to skip him. Probably going to be top 2 or 3 highest owned golfers, but I'm just going to eat that chalk this week in a lot of my lineups, be different somewhere else, and play a lot of Jon Rahm.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Same here. Gonna have quite a bit of Jon Rahm. Shout out to F Bonvi in our Discord chat, talking about one and done strategies on Jon Rahm today. Sparked a lot of good conversation about what we're looking at as far as this tournament, and it just broke. The chat just escalated into breaking down what we're going to do this week. And shout out to you for the dialogue today. That was quite fun. All right, next up is some value plays. We're going to move into my value plays here. Michael Thompson, $7,500, an 80 to 1 bet. Probably, he won the 3M. I don't expect him to win. What I expect him is to finish, top 20. It's what I'm really hoping for out of this play with Michael Thompson. Good course history. He's got a 9th and a 5th here in the last 3 years. sandwiched in between a miscut sandwiched in between both. But I'm hoping, the form from last week with the 5th place finish at the Sony Open really correlates well to a good outcome this week. He did play very well last week, as mentioned, 6.5 on the approach, 7.2 tee to green. Didn't putt lights out, but he putted well enough to get to that 5th place finish. In the event that he won the 3M Open, he gained well over 7 strokes on both approach and putting. And we were talking about some small greens. It's going to play fast and firm. So I think if he can get those ball striking numbers and the putter hot, Michael Thompson could be a lookout candidate. So maybe the 80-1 isn't too bad of a bet.
No,
if he can get super hot with both.
Yeah, and pulling each way. Pulling each way on that pick, he'd be. I think he's a great option in the betting market at the 80-1.
Yeah, there you have it, Michael Thompson. He might have a little bit of ownership, but I think his best bet is for GPPs because there is always the volatility of a miscut coming from Michael Thompson. Not going to grade out well on modeling, so hopefully that keeps the ownership low. We'll see. And next up is Adam Svensson at 7K, 7th last week. I'm not shy on the guys that played last week. It's going to be a constant theme in my picks this week. I just really I'm gearing up on guys that are in form or just playing really well to start out the year. I'm just not trying to take chances with guys historically that I know that will, burn you from time to time. They may have some better long-term data to say that they're, the better play, but I'm just going to go with some recency bias here with some of the courses playing very similar in, recent events like Hawaii, California. It all kind of plays the same. So I'm trying to play guys that are playing well. Svensson is, as I said, 7th last week, 6.1 on the approach, 3.8 putting, 4.9 tee to green. Really played well. 2 wins on the Korn Ferry Tour last year. He had 8 top 10s. So this is a guy that's been on his way back. He kind of broke the scene. I think it was 2019 or 2020 as an international golfer. Didn't have it. He spent a year down in the Korn Ferry Tour, and he really developed some good iron play. And I think he's going to be a pretty strong play this year. And hopefully this kicks it off for us with the Adam Svensson train at 7K. So what are your thoughts on those two, and who are your favorite value plays?
Yeah, I'm on both of these guys. Svensson popped in my modeling when I included looking at his betting odds value versus his price, and then threw in the stats on top of that. He really came out as one of the highest rated guys for me overall in this field. So I do like the value a ton on Svensson, and I definitely like the Thompson pick. The history is tough to ignore. Not many guys have more than one top 15. There's only a handful of guys that have done that on this course. There is a lot of volatility because it's the 3 courses. It's so different. And then the Pro-Am approach changes things an extra step. So I like them both. For me, a couple guys that may be a little more common household names. Luke List is everybody's favorite ball striker that cannot putt. He ranks dead last in this field over the last 75 rounds, putting on Bermuda grass greens. I still like him, even though he stinks at putting. He's 8K even on DraftKings 65-1 betting market. His last 10 events, he's made 7 out of 10 cuts, but 3 out of the last 4 events, he was top 11. That includes 7th at the Zozo, 10th RSM, 11th at the Houston Open. So he's got some form to wrap up last year. I like that coming in. Last year, he finished 21st at this event. So that is helpful for me also. But again, it's the stats that just stick out to me here for him. He's number 1 around the greens in this field. That kind of shocked me a little bit. More so, that what didn't shock me, he is 5th in this field ball striking over the last 36 rounds. That is your typical Luke List. 15th on approach. He is a green maker. He is 3rd in opportunities gained. So he's not making all the birdies. That's just because he can't putt. But he gives himself a chance over and over and over. I like that a lot this week. If he can get even just to baseline putting, he should be top 10, no problem. I like Luke List quite a bit. I am terrified to put him in a cash lineup, but I really, really like him as a great value play at 8K in your GPPs. I will put him in quite a bit there. I'll try and be way overweight on the field there. But if he ends up in my cash lineup, you can tell me next week I shouldn't have done that. So, but a guy I much prefer for cash, right about the same price, Johnny Vegas here. He was my very first choice when it came to building a lineup this week. 8,100. He is at 80-1 in the betting market. I see him as low as 66-1 over on Bovada. So if you are betting, look, the DK number is kind of nice, but I think he's got a lot more value than that number indicates here. His last 10 events, he has 8 out of 10 made cuts. 5 of those were top 15 finishes. That was a really good wrapping up the end of last calendar year for Johnny Vegas. Bermuda putting is his best surface. Although he's not very good at putting in general, he is much more of a ball striker, but this is where he tends to find the most success. 4 straight made cuts here at the Amex. You're not going to find many guys who have done that. Above average on short courses. He excels on easy scoring events. Like I said, ball striking, he's 3rd in this field last 36 rounds and 6th in birdies made. So I like that. And the distance too, he's 6th overall in distance. So a lot to like about Johnny Vegas this week. Someone in our chat, that was the first name he asked us about. And as soon as I did all my research, I couldn't have agreed more. So I'll be all over Vegas this week.
Nice. Yes. Both guys I could see from the same modeling that, were sticking out for you. Next up, we're going with some sleeper plays of the week. Pretty excited for my pick here. Hayden Buckley, guy that I played last week at 7,200, 110-1. Maybe if you want to throw in a top 20 bet, I think that's pretty live. He's a really good ball striker. As I said last week, played well. 5.6 tee to green, 1 stroke gain on the approach, 1 stroke gain on putting. Kind of did everything well. This is a guy that has a win in 5 top 10s on the Korn Ferry Tour last year. 28th in ball striking, 23rd in greens gained, 16 in good drives. Hayden Buckley was a fixture in some showdown lineups last week as the rounds progressed, played really well, got me a couple of birdie streaks. He kind of did a lot of good things, and he's a good young talent, and hopefully he can continue on his success. One more I have is Andrew Novak. He's not on the slide here, but he was just someone I wanted to talk about at 6,500. He missed the cut last week, but he went 6 under on Friday and just really crushed, after a really dismal round 1. Maybe it was nerves, I'm not sure, but he was 26th at the RSM, 22nd at the Mayakoba in the swing season. In those events, he was plus strokes gained on all of his statistics. Another guy that had a win on the Korn Ferry Tour last year that I like at 6,500. All right, tell me about your favorite sleeper.
Sure. For me, Tom Hoge, 7,100 on DraftKings. I like that value quite a bit. He's a guy that tends to pop up and hit top 10s quite a bit or just completely fall off. I like that a lot down in this price range. I think you're just going to have to take some risks. This field does not have the guys down in that range that you're going to feel super confident in. But I like Tom Hoge quite a bit. Bermuda is his best putting surface, although he does lose strokes on all putting surfaces, but tends to play a little bit better on Bermuda. He was 6th at the Amex in 2020. Now, if you do remember last year, it was not a Pro-Am, and last year it was not 3 courses. They only played 2. But back in 2020, the last time it was played on all 3 courses as a Pro-Am, he finished 6th. He also finished 15th and 26th at the Arnold Palmer. So he's got, again, good experience in this format of play. Wrapping up last year, he finished 4th at the RSM. Then he did have a miscut last week. I'm okay with that missed cut. I think it's going to give an ownership dip for Tom Hoge here, although I think kind of in that range, he might be one of the more popular guys. Him, Hayden Buckley, Smalley's another guy that I tend to like quite a bit down there. But Hoagie's great on approach. He's 19th in this field. He gives himself a lot of birdie opportunities. He's 9th in that, 30th in ball striking. So he pops in some of those more important categories for me. I'm going to be playing Tom Hoge. I'm a Hoge guy. Ever since he gave me tickets to a PGA event, I'll always be in his corner.
Yeah, nice. Every time I hear his last name, I can't help but think about the SNL skit when I think it's Chris Farrell's talking about hoagies and grinders. It just pops in my head every single time I hear his name. But yeah, he's a good guy, handing you those tickets. He's been a good guy in our lineups from time to time over the stretch of the last couple of years. So we're fans of the Hogue. train. All
Let's
right.
go. See you, Tom.
Let's get into the one and dones. Last week was a big week for me. Well, I mean, yes, I'm 179th, but we're only one event in. But I did hit the T3 with Seamus Power. You did fairly well. I believe you took Mark Leishman.
Yeah, he did fine. The problem was 22% of people on Fantasy National took Leishman last week. So basically, if you didn't have Leishman and you didn't have somebody in the top 5, you are in like 3,000th place right now. so I'm okay with that. Your hit was awesome. Your 179. I mean, you're talking. There's only people 4% took Matsuyama. I think less than that had Henley. So only 178 people out of the 4,400 took one of those two guys. There's a handful of others who didn't have Power was a T3. So you got a couple other people tied with you that didn't take Power, but that was an excellent choice. I wish I had tailed you there, but I'm okay with that taking Leishman there. I got money, made it through the cut. You don't need to win every single week. You do need to make a ton of cuts though. And having really somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 top 5s, and you got one already. So great job.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. I'm going to go with Patrick Cantlay. As we were talking earlier in the chat, we're looking at the rest of this field and there's just nobody, right? If anyone's going to win, it's going to be probably north of 50, or it's going to be one of these studs. And I don't want to burn Rahm, even though he could easily lap the field, but I want to take a shot on Cantlay. Yes, you could take him at Memorial, but who's to say you're not taking Rahm at Memorial? So it was kind of like I was thinking back and forth, where could I take Cantlay? He doesn't usually perform too well in Florida. He's more of a West Coast kind of golfer. The courses that he won in the FedEx Cup, I believe, man, what it was, East Lake was in Atlanta. So he's just, he's a bent grass and Poa kind of guy, I guess I would think. So here I am taking him at the Amex in Bermuda, but he's got a lot of great course history. He had a second place finish here last year. He's been lights out for what seems like close to 3 months now. With the ending of the FedEx Cup, he played really well at Century. I'm just going to Patrick Cantlay. I'm putting my foot on the gas here and hoping that he pulls out a win so I can get into this top 50 and stay there. That's my hope. And I'm going to take a shot here with Cantlay. Your thoughts?
I think it's a great choice. Nothing wrong with him. If you want to take Rahm, absolutely nothing wrong there. I like Scotty Scheffler here. He's got some great course history. He's been playing some decent golf. And I don't think he's going to be nearly as popular. I'm okay now that I took a 22% owned guy last week. I think I need to kind of get off of the ownership train there a little bit, but Scotty rates out really well for me this week. I like him probably better as either an outright bet or on one and done here. The pricing is pretty steep for him. I would kind of rather pay up and just get Cantlay or Rahm in my DraftKings lineups. Nothing wrong with him, but I'm probably just not going to end up. I don't see myself being able to get overweight on him in DraftKings, and I think he can win. I'm going to take him in one and done instead.
There you go. Perfect. All right, guys, that'll wrap things up for us here at FSI for the PGA DFS Pick Show. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at TKNation47. You can follow John at JohnCool19. All right, guys, enjoy your week for the American Express, and good luck in your lineups. We'll see you in the chat.
Sweet. Good luck.
Take it easy, guys.